Hey there, it's Johanna, and today I want to talk about a couple of fears that can come up when we start making space to listen to ourselves. I first wrote about these in the context of journaling, but I think that they really apply to any way we try to listen to ourselves. So if you're not a journaler, don't leave. This is for you too. I came to these two questions after my own kind of starting to journal again and listening to other people who wanted to journal. And there were so many reasons why it didn't work. It was too hard. There wasn't time, new habits. I keep forgetting all these things. But when I kind of really listened to what was being said under what was being said, it all boiled down to these two questions. And so the first question, what if I have nothing worthwhile to say? And, to use a journaling example, when I write in my journal, it is often very boring, quite repetitive, and if I'm being honest, it's often pretty whiny. And that can make it feel like, oh, well, this is just a waste of time and paper and ink. If you're not going to be coming up with like insightful things or getting really at the heart of what you're trying to figure out, like what's the point? But I've been learning to really value making space for the mundane. For one, all the little frustrations and annoyances and worries and just all those day-to-day things. Well, those are a big part of what makes up our lives. So it's not necessarily helpful to just dismiss them as unimportant. And the more we make space for them, we might start to actually see patterns or things just by giving them some attention. And in addition to that, I say make space to listen to ourselves, not like dive in, grab your most insightful thoughts and pull them out as fast as possible. It is a practice of making space, and that doesn't mean that space will always be filled with like these deep, impressive thoughts. Sometimes we need a lot of space for some of those more hidden, covered things to start working their way to the surface. I don't know how many times I've been journaling and just writing like, I've got nothing. I have nothing interesting to say today. I don't know why I'm bothering, yada, yada, yada. And, then 3/4 of the way down page 3, all of a sudden there's this really unexpected idea or question that I wouldn't have gotten to if I didn't make space for all the other things to didn't clear some of the clutter out of my brain and make space to do that. So other things could rise to the surface. And, sometimes I think that fear of what if I have nothing worthwhile to say can be a way of avoiding what might actually be a deeper concern. Which brings me to the second question. What if I uncover something I don't want to know? Yeah, can relate to this one too. When I first started journaling, I would only write in pencil. I needed like that extra assurance that my words could disappear without anyone seeing them because I had a lot going on. And in some ways it's kind of silly. It's not like I'm going to erase an entire notebook. But, there was that fear. What am I going to uncover here? And that can feel scary because, if we sometimes we start uncovering things where it's like, ooh, is it okay to think that? I don't know if that's okay. Or, we might, when we start acknowledging like, oh yeah, this isn't working for me. Something needs to change. Or, you know what? That's what I really want. That's it's like, oh, well, that's really helpful to know. But once we know those things, it's a lot harder to pretend, oh, everything's fine. We start feeling more responsible to actually take action, to make those changes, to choose something different when something isn't working, or to go after what we really want. And, it can feel easier and a lot less risky just to let things stay the same than to do what it takes to change them. And, the thing is, though, we don't create these things when we uncover them. They're already there. And until we make that space to listen, we don't necessarily know. So we aren't able to, make decisions about what's next. And I think often we are way more capable of figuring out how to navigate whatever it is we do uncover than we give ourselves credit for. So I will be back with some, I talked about these two questions, these two fears, and yeah, they're still there for me too. And I imagine some of you can relate to them. So I'll be back with more about, okay, so what do we do? What do we try? What helps? For today, I'm curious for you, do these, if you're honest with yourself, do these kind of ring true? Does one of them get you more than the other? Is it, what if I have nothing worthwhile to say? Is it, what if I uncover something I don't want to know? Is it a bit of both? I'll be back with more soon. In the meantime, remember, you can trust yourself.